Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be trying out a whole load of exciting new makeup. We have the new Natasha Denona foundation, the brand new Chanel concealer. Fresh through the letterbox, I have the brand new Natasha Denona Sculpt palette. I've got the new brow pencil from Lisa Eldridge. I'm going to be sharing my favourite look, my favourite combo of shades from all of the Hourglass palettes this year, the Fox palette. I'm going to be showing you my absolute favourite combo that I have found across the three palettes from using them for the last week or so. I'm also going to be trying out a lip combo and using one of the gel liners from the Vango collection that I didn't use in my video. And I also have some new brushes from Sonia G. So if you want to see all of these products in action and hear my thoughts, then you've come to the right place. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I'm starting off with my Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate primer. I have to apologise, I am, as I have been since I moved here, filming in natural daylight today, and it's one of those days where there's like sunshine and clouds and sunshine and clouds, so we're probably going to get quite a lot of changing light. I'm already considering quitting. Not quitting altogether, but quitting using natural daylight because it's hell out there. And it's not the case like a lot of people thought I wouldn't have enough natural daylight filming in the UK. It's, you know, absolutely fine, and actually not having too much natural daylight is good. That's easier to deal with. If it's like full cloud cover and quite a dull, dark, dingy day, that's ideal for filming makeup in natural daylight. It's when it changes constantly that we have an issue. So the worst case scenario is, you know, a sunny, cloudy day where we're going bright and then dark and then bright and then dark, and I have to constantly, every time the light changes, change my camera settings, and sometimes I don't notice straight away that we've gone a bit dark or we've gone a bit bright. So I feel like I might have to give up already. You know, I know that so many people just love and really want all of the content creators to film in natural daylight, and I do understand the appeal, but it's so tricky. And I feel like unless the natural daylight is completely consistent and it doesn't move at all, which is quite unusual during the course of a video, it's not going to be accurate. I think that's why people love natural daylight, because they feel like that gives you the most accurate representation of the colours and how things look. But the reality is that's only true if it stays completely still and perfect, which is just not what natural daylight does. And if it moves and you don't adapt immediately to it, actually what you're getting is not going to be accurate and helpful. So yeah, unfortunately, we may have to knock that on the head. Well, I'm hanging in there at the moment, but it's not been a fun experience, which is such a shame because, as you guys know, it is something that lots of people value and really enjoy. And I think when it's good, when it's working, when, you know, the natural daylight doesn't move and you have a nice easy day to film in, I love how it looks. It looks so beautiful. And it's really clear and it's really good to see, you know, the products in natural daylight. But that has happened like approximately one time in the month that I've been filming here. The rest of the time it's been like I've had to stop filming and change my camera settings like every 5 minutes. And the danger there is that we miss something, or something is much too dark or much too light. And it's just taking me so much longer to film, so much longer to set up. And then a lot of the time, a lot of the footage is too dark or too bright or too warm or too cool because the light has changed, and I'm not constantly looking at the camera to realise that the camera's settings need changing. So yeah, I think I might have to abandon ship with the natural daylight. I'm so sorry. And I know whenever I talk about natural daylight, a lot of you will be really disappointed if I can't continue with it. I do understand, and just know that before, like, I haven't fully decided to do that yet. Before I do that, I have and will try everything. I will. I know whenever I say something like this, I'll get a lot of people saying, oh, why try this, try that, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? Believe me, I will fight to the death because I know you guys value it, and I do understand why, and I do love how it looks on a good day. It's rare. And I feel like it's kind of more hassle than it's worth. I hate doing my brows on camera. It's so hard to do, but this pencil from Lisa, as I said in my August Beauty Roundup, has become like my all-time favourite eyebrow pencil. It's just so natural and easygoing and easy to use. It's so precise, but it doesn't sort of look unnatural or just like leave like stripes. It's perfect. Thing is, with lighting, you know, if you use lighting these days, lighting is so good that it's very, very good at mimicking natural daylight. So it's not, I think, you know, people think that if you're using studio lighting or professional lighting, it's completely ruining everything and the colouring is off and the products don't look the same, but that's just not the case these days. You can get really, really great, very accurate, true to life natural daylight lighting, which is what I have. So, you know, it won't be a problem. It's not going to throw everything off or throw the undertones off, and the majority of the time, because it's consistent and you can make sure it's the right temperature and make sure your white balance and everything is completely perfect and accurate, and it won't change throughout the video, throughout the course of the video, it will actually, for the most part, be more accurate and helpful than natural daylight would be, because it just is constantly changing and shifting. From the colour of it to the brightness, it's just never still. And I think particularly for me, because I generally have to film at a certain time of the day because of my life, because school runs, because of children, etc. You see that? This is what we're talking about now. Everything has gone very blue because the sun has gone in and it was out, and in a minute it'll probably come back out, and then everything will look really orange if I change the camera settings. And I just don't have the time to take 3 hours to film like a 40-minute video, because I have to keep stopping and changing everything back and forth. It's back again. And it's gone again. That was like a split second when it changed and changed back. It's infuriating, guys. It's killing me slowly. Okay, so let's take a look at this brand new palette from Natasha Denona. So this is the soft version. She released 2 palettes. Oh, let's peel the thing together. So satisfying. So there are 2 of these little numbers. I got the soft. There is also is it intense? No, it's dramatic. So this is soft and there's also dramatic. Dramatic looks to have more shimmers and it looks a lot richer and deeper overall for a deeper skin tone, or just for someone who wants a stronger, richer palette and favours a few more shimmers. This is mostly mattes. There are only 3 metallics in here. We have C1, N1 and N2. Those are the 3 metallics. Everything else is matte. I was so drawn to this palette because it's very much like Bieber, but in a better, more compact size and updated formulas. So I was very excited to try this. The dramatic palette didn't really appeal to me that much. I felt like it was very warm and just not the sort of colours that I personally prefer. Whereas this one, we have a bit more of like some peachy tones, some sort of almost mauvey tones, and some just perfect staple neutral mattes. So yeah, this was definitely my jam. I'm going to start off with a bit of P2 and one of these new Sonia G brushes, T8. I just feel like a lot of the time I love these understated, no makeup. I love to do an all matte, I love to do an all matte look quite often these days as well. I think it's so flattering, and I really like it if I decide I want to do really big bold lashes, to have, you know, a softer, subtle eyeshadow look, because that helps your lashes look even more dramatic, which I'm a big fan of, as you guys know. These are so silky, these mattes. So silky and soft and easy to use. I mean, I think Natasha probably has my favourite matte formulas, so no surprise. I'm going to use that same brush and I'm going into Y2, just a bit more neutral. I'm going to keep this really nice and natural and light today. It's exactly what I want this palette for. I know for a lot of people this will look like very unnecessary and very boring, and it just really depends on what tickles your pickle as to whether this is going to appeal to you or not. To me, I was beside myself because although yes, it's not sort of shades or tones we've never seen before, and we perhaps don't own, you know, some of these in other palettes, especially from Natasha Denona. Biba in particular is obviously very similar to this, but for me it's just about having everything in this really perfect condensed place where you have everything you need as far as mattes. Perfect for travel, perfect for every day, perfect as like an accompaniment to any single shadows you might have, etc. So for me, I was really excited about this, but I understand that for everybody, it's not going to be quite as exciting as it is for me. Now I'm going to dabble in Y3 and I'm going to use my T7 of these new brushes. We're just going to use that lightly right in the crease and outer V. This is such a nice size palette to use as a mirror as well if you need to use it on the go or you're doing your makeup at a table somewhere or something like that and you need the mirror and you need to keep condensed with the amount of stuff that you have. This is a really nice size mirror. I really love the packaging as well. It feels really solid, a bit weightier and sturdier than Natasha's typical packaging. So I'm switching over to one of Sonia's existing brushes, which is the Builder M, and I'm going to dip into C1 because I want to try out a shimmer from this palette and just see what we've got, but I don't want to do too much. I want to keep it quite subtle because that's obviously the nature of this palette. Really pretty. Yeah, it's not like a super bold, crazy shimmer from Natasha, but it does build nicely and it has some impact for sure, but it's not like her super shimmery, sparkly metallics. It's not like one of the crystal shadows, you know, it's more of a kind of standard metallic. Last of the new eye brushes from Sonia, this is the T9, and I'm going to use this with Y1 just in the inner corner. Perfect inner corner, little brightening shade there. How are we doing with the light? We're okay at the moment, maybe we're a little bright, but I'm hoping this kind of explains. I know people will be disappointed if I go back to using lighting, but I've tried, like I said, I've tried everything. I've spoken to a lot of my friends, my YouTube friends, and looked for advice and things that I could try, and it's too tricky for the majority of the time. You know, there are things like there's a specific time of day when things might change less. And there's things like, you know, filming on certain days weather-wise, but that's just not, you know, I do have to be quite reactive with my content depending on what comes out, when it launches, what availability I have to film as well, because obviously there's a lot going on outside of this, other commitments that I have to, you know, prioritize. So I kind of have to be able to film when I have a window, and that's the thing with natural daylight. It's like a fickle beast. You need to film at a specific time of day on a specific weather, and you know how unpredictable weather is here of all places. I'm just using the brown Hourglass Extensions mascara, which I have been loving recently. I also think this is perfect for a sort of softer eyeshadow look because it is that brown, so it's a softer than a sort of vivid jet black. Should go nicely with this shadow. My children are on their very last day in their first week at their new schools, and it's gone pretty well. It's been hectic. They are exhausted. We had to wake my daughter up today for school. My son is like on his last legs because his school does so much PE. They have PE every day. He does a lot of physical activity, which he's very active anyway, but he is absolutely on his last legs. I was reading to him last night and his eyes were like closing as I was reading, and that never, he's so, we were reading through all the Harry Potters. We're on the Order of the Phoenix, and he is normally so rapt that, you know, he's like alert. His little eyes were like closing as I was reading to him last night. He's so tired. So let's try out this Natasha Denona foundation. I have the shade N9, and I have been using this for like a good week, I'd say. I've tried this out a good few times. I know I have sort of mentioned it in other videos, but I don't think I've used it on camera yet. I do like it a lot. It's a really solid foundation. I would say it's a bit more on the natural side than it is glowy. So it's nowhere near as glowy as the Tom Ford Architecture Radiant Foundation. It's not probably as glowy as the YSL either. This is like a little more, I would say, of a natural finish. I would definitely say this has more of a natural finish as opposed to radiant or glowy. It just sort of has a little bit of luminosity to it. Not matte by any means, but definitely a little less glowy than my personal goal in life. It has really good coverage. I'd say like straight off the bat, we're at like a solid medium to full. It doesn't take much building whatsoever to get to a really like a full, proper, solid full coverage. And it wears incredibly well. By sort of coincidence, I've tried this foundation, I've been wearing this foundation a couple of times on some crazy days, either super long, crazy weather, when I've just happened to be wearing this foundation, and I've been impressed every time. It wears very, very well. It's beautiful, very full coverage, very full glam of a foundation, which again isn't my kind of typical preference. I like something a little more natural and less sort of makeup-y looking than this foundation, but it is flawless, very flattering, and like I said, wears incredibly well. So I think it's a really great foundation. There's just a couple of things about it that perhaps aren't personally my preference, but I think it's a really great foundation. And like I said, they needed to in my Natasha Denona brand like breakdown. They have really upped their game from like where we started with that foundation, her Foundation X, which I really hated and thought was awful. And the shade range was also awful. They have come a long way. I love the bottle. I love the shades, the undertones, everything is great. I think it does exactly what it says on the tin. It's just a little less glowy and a little less natural than my personal preference for a foundation. And by the way, I think it looks like I've put like 25 pumps on. I've just been doing tiny little dots, which is another great thing about this bottle, is you can really control. You don't have to do a full pump. You can do a little dot and just add really, really slowly if you don't want, you know, the coverage to get too much. It is quite controllable, but really beautiful, really flawless, like very full beat, full glam, but wears unbelievably well. So yeah, school so far, my son from day one is absolutely enraptured with his school. He loves everything. He loves every lesson. He loves his uniform. I thought because he's had to go to wearing a tie and a blazer, I thought he's gonna hate that. He loves it. He loves wearing a tie. He keeps telling me how much he loves to be being so smart, and he just loves how much sport they're doing. All of the teachers there are unbelievable. He's absolutely loving it. The food is unbelievable. He's very, very lucky because he gets his uncle as his school chef. So he's absolutely on top of life. My daughter's had a slightly harder start to her school because she started secondary school and in a new location. So she knows nobody, and all of the other kids obviously know lots of people because they've all come up from their primary schools together. So it's been tougher for her. And the first day I was so upset because she came out and, you know, she'd sort of not really spoken to anyone all day. She'd been on her own at lunchtime and I was having an absolute mental breakdown. It's just so hard, isn't it? Like the thought of your child just being like alone. and it's my fault because we moved. So day one wasn't great. She wasn't upset. She was just like, you know, it is what it is. But day two, she came out and she had made some friends. There was a really lovely girl in her tutor group had like come up to her and said, come and sit with us at lunchtime. Thank goodness. If I could hug her, I would. I mean, she'd probably find that weird, but I'm so grateful to this girl. Wait till it's her birthday. She is getting quite a present, let me tell you. So yeah, this lovely girl in her tutor group came up to her and said, come and sit with us. And that was it. Now she's set for life. She has her friends, a little group of friends. This lovely girl introduced her to all of her friends. So she has this little group that she's joined now. And she's been golden ever since. She also started at her new dance studio. We've now done a full week of classes and she's absolutely loving it there as well. So we are all good. Let me tell you about this concealer. It's magical, okay? Now, you guys know how I felt about the previous Chanel concealer that came in the pot. I loved the concealer, hated the component, hated the method of having to use this pot, which you unscrew and it's just a mess everywhere. And then you've got to use a brush to apply it, and it's kind of tricky to control how much you're using and where you put it. They have basically given us that concealer, but in an appropriate packaging component. I love this concealer. I think this will be today the third time of using this, and I'm in love. And it's definitely, I don't mind telling you, but it's definitely potentially going to knock my Estee Lauder off top spot. It's definitely got the potential. I need to use it a little bit more to fully decide whether it's my favourite, and I also like to go back and forth. When I'm thinking, you know, something might be a new holy grail, I like to go back and forth between the current top spotter and the new contender and go back and forth before I fully decide, side by side, really decide which I prefer. But I think we could be there. It's so beautiful, full coverage. What I like about this potentially over the Estee Lauder is it's so thin. It's somehow so thin and light, but covers so incredibly well, and it's so flipping flattering. It looks like there's no concealer there, but it's covered everything. It's so natural, really beautiful, really lightweight, gorgeous. Just gonna go back to my Sonia T7 and a little bit of Y2 under my lower lash line. But yeah, I've been using that and I've been so impressed. It wears unbelievably well, does not crease throughout the day at all. It looks flawless, smooth, flattering, very perfecting, and it just is so lightweight. Very excited about that one. I don't love the doe foot. It's one of those like really tiny, like very narrow, so it's great for like getting down the bridge of your nose and like carving out your eyeshadow, but I feel like I always put too much here. But having said that, it does deposit quite a lot of product when you know go in with the flat side of the doe foot. But that being said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, like applying like a little more than you would have meant to or intended to does not mean that you end up with a cakey heavy look, or separating or creasing or exaggerating of fine lines and emphasizing of texture. Nothing happens, so there's no repercussions. I guess you've just maybe slightly wasted a little bit of product, which we don't want to do because it's not cheap, but it is stunning. Such a pretty concealer, really flattering for more mature under eyes. Definitely potential for a new holy grail. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you my favorite like look combo from all of the Hourglass palettes this year so far, and it's from using the Fox palette. I've been loving this so much. So this is one of my limited edition Hinoki brushes from Sonia G, and I just like to take both bronzers, I'll just mix them together and I'll just lightly do a wash of bronzer. Don't really need to build up because this is the deepest palette. So the bronzers are lovely and rich, and on my skin tone, no need to do like a lot of building. Whereas at the moment, the bronzer in the Deer palette is not really bronzing me at all, and then the Swan palette takes a little bit of building. Whereas in the Fox, like, I'm good to go pretty much straight off the bat, just one little light wash application. But I used this palette, I forget where we were going now. Oh, I know, we went to sort of a last minute dinner the other day. We decided to just go up to the restaurant in the village and eat there for dinner, and so we sort of had like 15 minutes, so I just grabbed this palette and used the shades that I hadn't used in my video because it was quite soon after, so I hadn't sort of got around to using everything, and I just used this combo, and oh, I just loved it so much, and I thought that is it. That is the combo from all of these palettes that is going to be like the winner this year. So I'm going to use the final new Sonia G brush, the TF4, for the highlighter. There's only one highlighter in this palette, so you can't go wrong there. But it's such a pretty one. I thought, if you watch my initial review of these palettes, that this was going to be too light for me. I mean, too deep for me. You know, when you see it in the pan, that looks rather, I don't remember which side I put it on, this side, I think. It looks rather deep, doesn't it? But actually, on the cheeks, it's perfect. And it's subtle and understated, and it just melts into the bronzer so nicely. Really beautiful highlighter. This brush you could use for blush, highlighter, you could use it for powder. Very versatile one, this. Probably my favourite. It's the only face brush from these new Traditions brushes from Sonia G. All of the others are eyeshadow brushes. So pretty. Just going to dust that off a little bit. And now for my favourite blush, this blush. I used this one in my demo, you know, because I thought you guys are going to want to see the, you know, the most interesting, unique blush in the palette, which is clearly this one. But this is my jam down here. This sort of peachy, neutral, bronzy little number. Definitely this brush can be used for blush. Very pretty. It's got the perfect amount of pigment and really allows you to sort of buff it in without it being too large for the cheek area. And this blush is so buildable. It's really quite a versatile one. You can build as much or as little as you would like. It's just gorgeous. It's got such a beautiful glow to it as well. I've literally had to change the light on my camera like 10 times while I've been applying blush. It's so sad. I wish it wasn't the case, that it was so tricky, but when you're filming long videos, the light just changes so much. This combo of shades, I just think it's perfect. This combo of shades, I just think is so pretty, so glowy and fresh and sort of bronzy but understated. Gorgeous. I love it so much. Oh, I almost forgot to use the gel liner from Vango, which I also forgot to use in my video. So that's, we're not doing well, are we? This is Soften the Edge, and I'm going to use this to like tight line my upper waterline. Really nice sort of soft brown shade. Should I use it in my lower waterline? I don't really like liner in my lower waterline unless it's like a brightening liner, but I do feel like I want to test it out there. Of course, I just drew a line underneath my lash line. No one will know. So let's try this lip liner. This is Create the Shape. I'm not 100% sure how this will go with the lipstick, but now I do have a double lip line, so what I tend to do is line the bottom lip line, like the widest part in the middle, and then the inner lip line when we get to the corners of my mouth. That's just what works for me and my awkward double lip line. And then I'm going to use the Wild Rose lipstick, hence why I'm not sure if this will work. Okay, so here is the finished look. I'm really happy with it. I just love this Fox palette so much. I feel like it's so pretty, so perfect for this time of year, and I've really been enjoying it. I definitely think it's going to become one of my all-time favourite Hourglass palettes. The Swan is giving it a run for its money, but I like the highlighter in the Fox so much better than the Swan, which is just too metallic for me. So that's such a shame. I don't know why they do this every year, why they don't have like a consistent highlighter formula across the palettes. Well, I do know it's probably because they want you to buy them all, which is really annoying. But I like the highlighter in the Deer and the Fox palette a lot more than the Swan palette. Otherwise the Swan would be perfect, which is very annoying. But I think overall with this look, the Fox has become my favourite this year. So the Natasha Denona foundation, I think it's a really good foundation, a huge improvement on what they had to offer us previously. Full coverage, full glam, a sort of satin natural finish. I would personally like a bit more glow and a bit more of a sort of natural coverage and a bit more of a sort of skin-like texture, but I think it's a very good foundation. It wears incredibly well. It's very beautiful, very flawless, lots going for it. Packaging is stunning. I like the shade. It's just like those personal preference things that make it like not a complete holy grail yet. I do prefer it to the YSL. I don't prefer it to the Tom Ford. Now, as I said, this concealer from Chanel went straight into my top drawer, straight into my regular rotation. I'm loving it. It's so flattering, so natural. It has such good coverage. Really nice, luxurious, beautiful component as you would expect from Chanel. Very chic and understated though. Wears beautifully, doesn't crease, very lightweight, very thin, so you don't feel like you're sort of really cramming a lot of thick, heavy product on an under eye area that will not benefit from it. Gorgeous, really loving it. Will keep you posted as I use it a bit more. First impressions of this Natasha Denona palette are very, very good. Undoubtedly, I bought this for the mattes. Now, if you want a lot of shimmers, it's not going to be the palette for you. Even the metallics they do have are not sort of really blingy, sparkly, shimmery. They're quite soft as far as Natasha Denona's metallics go. So undoubtedly, this is a palette that you purchase if you want a lot of mattes, stunning matte formulas, beautiful pigment, beautiful blend, really easy to use in a whole plethora of tones, undertones, depths. It's perfect. It's exactly what I was expecting and hoping for. Obviously I haven't played with it. This is the first time using it today. I haven't played with all of the shades or long enough, but I will keep you posted in my September roundup as to how I'm getting along with this. But first impressions are it's exactly what I wanted it to be. Loads of options, loads of choice, gorgeous buttery mattes that blend themselves, that are really easy to work with incredible range of combinations in some stunning elevated packaging for the brand. Now I have already told you about the Lisa Eldridge brow pencil. It's still not available yet. I know they've had some issues. It was supposed to launch like a week ago. It's nothing to do with the product or the formula. That's not being changed. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a like sort of more admin issue or challenge that they're working on at the moment. So the product is amazing. Gorgeous shades, the undertones of the brow pencil, not warm at all, really natural, soft but precise. I've been loving this so much. Hopefully it will be here for all of you guys to use soon and you'll be able to give it a go for yourselves. Now I've already spoken about the Vango range of products. I did a standalone video on this brand new brand and I've been loving everything. I have used the lip liner previously, so I know those wear very, very well and they last really nicely and they're very creamy, which is exactly what I like. I haven't used the Longwear, the gel eyeliner yet. Today is the first time I'm using this, so I will report back on the longevity, how long it stays in my waterline, and I'll keep using this and again keep you posted in my September roundup as to how it's wearing and how it lasts and holds up in the waterline, because that is really the tea we need. And then as for these new brushes from Sonia, this is, I think, number T8 has got to be one of my all-time favorites from Sonia G. It's the perfect crease brush. It's not super like light and fluffy so that it gives you a very diffused application straight away that you need to build a lot. It gives you the perfect bit of definition and depth there, but in such a like diffused way, if that makes sense. So it's not adding a tiny bit of pigment, it's giving you quite a bit of impact, but in a blended way, if that makes any sense. It's just the perfect size and shape. One of my all-time favorites from the brand. And this cheek brush as well, spectacular for highlight, so versatile. You could use it to set concealer, you could use this for contour, blush, highlight. I love how versatile Sonia's brushes are because they're expensive, they're an investment. You want to be able to buy a few that do a lot of jobs, that are real workhorses, and I feel like she really excels at that. These other two little eye brushes are really great. If you own a lot of Sonia brushes, these are real great little like gap fillers in her offering. This is such a good like builder outer V, lower lash line, stamping brush that we don't really have something quite like this. And then the diddiest little inner corner brow arch highlighter brush, really nice precision, really nice amount of control from this brush. So I feel like again these have really filled little gaps in her brush line that we really needed. So such a great brush set, really nice value for money, really versatile brushes. But we expect nothing less from Sonia at this point, do we? Now I do have a new fragrance to share with you as well. This is the new Valentino Donna Born in Roma Ivory fragrance. I was sent this, I have tried this a couple of times. Gorgeous bottle, absolutely stunning bottle, really beautiful. This is an Oriental Vanilla fragrance. It's a really pretty, creamy, light scent with a little bit of a sweetness to it, but it's not overly cloying. I think I sort of saw the marshmallow note in here when I sort of thought of Love Don't Be Shy by Kilian, something really, really sweet and sickly. It's not at all. It's a much lighter sort of floral with little hints of sweetness here and there. I will say for me, it's a little too soft with the performance. I don't sort of get wafts of it throughout the day. I feel like it disappears quite quickly and it's not one that I get compliments on because I think it's just really much a skin scent on me. Now you guys know that my skin eats fragrance for breakfast, so I do need fragrances that perform very, very well or my skin will just suck the life out of them. And this just doesn't perform well enough for me to be able to smell it or for anyone else to be able to smell it after like the initial spray. But there you have it. Please let me know all of your thoughts on these new products. Did you grab any of these? Are they on your list? Please let me know what your thoughts are on all of these new makeup releases. But thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.